Welcome to Wander Mode, a podcast that wanders through topics such as entrepreneurship, traveling, and mamahood. As a teacher turned entrepreneur and a mama to one, I am sharing my tips and tricks to maintain harmony in a multifaceted life. Let's wander. I am your host, Julie Thomas, and today's episode is about designing a new space. When I started teaching in 2007, my mom came out to help decorate my classroom. My mom and I had been dreaming about this moment of setting up my classroom together since I was in high school, and I decided that I wanted to be a teacher. Back then, it was stapling colorful borders to bulletin boards, stencils, cute labels, letter cutouts, turn-in bins, so different from what I would have in my room today. Taking over that classroom as a new teacher meant spending days digging through boxes of books and supplies to see what I wanted to continue to use in the space that I had just gained. I created a classroom that felt like home, primarily through theming. I decided to go with our school colors and organization, of course. I did move classrooms over the years, but I always made each space feel like my own. And my classroom really was a statement of who I was and the teacher that I wanted to be for my students. My classroom was a gathering space for my 7th grade team of teachers. I can recall on field trip days that we would meet in there for donuts as a little reprieve before students arrived. On team meeting days, my colleagues, whom I also consider my friends, would gather. We would plan, process issues with kids, share funny stories, cry, laugh, appreciate what each of us contributed to our team as we were all highly different individuals. And my classroom was a home away from home. This classroom was my safe zone, and it held my sense of community. Transitioning to working from home meant I had to leave this space, and I had grown to love it and now recognize that I was going to have to attempt to generate the same vibe in my new home office. I gained this home office in 2021 when our fam moved out of a townhome and into a home at the edge of the country. At the time, I was still teaching, and setting up an office space really seemed like an unnecessary way to use my time. It mostly held everything after we moved in that I didn't want to deal with. We closed the door so that I didn't have to see the clutter daily, and that was kind of that. After determining that I was going to leave teaching, though, it was now time to face this new space head on. Like my classroom in 2007, this office needed me to take ownership of that space. I started by taking everything out of the room and sorted what would stay and what would be tossed. Almost everything found a new home other than the desk and chair, and then the space remained primarily empty for about a month. I took time at school to tell everyone that I wasn't coming back. I needed that closure of telling everyone at school that I wasn't coming back prior to me being able to own a space elsewhere. The highly emotional decision to leave teaching made me dread deciding what to do with this office now that it was cleared out. For someone who loves decorating, vision boards, rearranging rooms, yes, I was that kid that rearranged my bedroom every month when I was younger. Everything about this new setup felt super daunting, and it honestly confused me with my mixed emotions. Shouldn't I be excited? Why am I feeling lonely in this room? Why is it that I can't see myself working in this space? How can a room in my own home feel so cold when the rest of the house feels warm and inviting? The reality is that teaching is a community-based profession. As I stated earlier, I work closely with colleagues and dear friends. We sat in one another's rooms during prep, even if that was just to work in silence. The space was always filled with people, whether that be staff or students. The lively energy from that type of work environment is really hard to mimic. I knew mentally and emotionally that my physical work environment would change dramatically, and it was super hard for me to accept that. My dear friend Allie wanted to have a ceremony of sorts with me in my new office space. On a night when hubby, dog, and kiddo were out of the house, we sat on the floor and she smudged the room with sage, and she gifted me the Oracle deck that I've been talking about, the Prayers of Honoring book that I have referenced, and then a stunning piece of stone made of ocean jasper. Ocean jasper's energy is meant to support us as the world twists and shifts. It is steady, grounded, even though the floor is constantly shifting. It is intended for periods of transition to support fluidity and stability. This ceremony honestly meant the world to me, not only because it helped honor my new path and ignited me a desire to begin designing this room, but because she was part of the commemoration of this room. We co-taught together in 7th grade for the last 13 years. It is how we met and became best friends. And this ceremony was a stamp of approval of some sort for my decision to leave teaching. And in that moment, I knew that I had her support, and I needed that support in order to let go of my old space and let in the new. I strongly believe in the energy that a space can hold. Let's take the example of a mountain. Mountaintops have a mighty power that when you reach the top of, maybe it's just a hill for you, but when you reach the top of a peak, it gives you that revelation of seeing that things are so much bigger than just yourself. And you feel that power and you feel that energy because you see so much more from the top than when you are down below and you're surrounded by these peaks. Another example, dark spaces. Depending on how they're designed, they could invite a calm, muted energy, like a salt cave that has the lights dimmed down and music playing in order to bring about a sense of relaxation. But dark spaces can also hold a creepy, insecure energy in which you find yourself constantly looking over your shoulder. My new office space had great bones for bringing about a super positive energy. It has a lovely amount of natural light. It is a light that is energizing and welcomes you to sit in the warmth. I wanted to capitalize on seeing that light, so my desk faces toward the windows so that my eyes can feel the sun's energy at all times. I brought my cacti home that I have been growing in my classroom for years. They happily sit on a multi-tiered plant stand in the corner and are a daily connection for me to the memories of my classroom. And then in front of the windows, I placed 2 chairs, an ottoman and an end table so that hubby and I could meet in a comfy space for our weekly meetings. And on the end table sits my ocean jasper rock. It is a daily reminder for me to stay grounded. The walls in here are a light gray, and they really reflect the light well. There isn't much on them at the moment, but one wall does hold 2 artistic drawings that I purchased from a quaint shop in Italy. And the most prominent wall is waiting for a painting from a friend. And this friend is painting an original piece for me. And it is going to be of a mama bear and a cub. The cub represents my daughter. And above the bear will be 5 birds taking flight that will represent little ones that will not be part of our family Earthside. That painting is going to complete this space perfectly. And I really can say that I now look forward to coming to work in this space each day. It is mine, and it has much to say about my energy and the spirit that is inside of me. Let's turn the tables a little bit and consider your space. So whether your space is your home office, a cubicle, a work vehicle, a closet, there is power and productivity that comes from your ownership over that space. Think about this space for a moment. Visualize it in your mind, unless you're already in it. Is it a space that you enter and your body can settle into what it needs to do? Is it a space that when others see it, they are inspired by you or curious about the work that you do? Is it a space that you're proud of? If the answer to these questions is no, what are some changes that you could make so that the answer is yes? I'm going to give you some steps similar to what I did to help you gain a space that is as productive and comfortable as the space that I now find myself in. So you've thought about this space, you visualized it. Do you have things in there that could be removed? Do you have excess furniture that's serving no purpose? Do you have items in your work vehicle that keep getting moved around because they're always in the way? I want you to purge the apparent items first. Those are the items that when you look at them, they are the most obvious to you that they could be removed from this space. Then you're going to start the decluttering process. Only tackle a little bit at once unless you're an overachiever. Pick just one space of the room or one part of the car to focus on and tackle the rest when you regain more energy. Then I want you to think about the energy that is coming from that space. So, does it feel clean? Is there good light? What needs to change to adjust the energy that you receive from that space? Is it a space you're proud of? Does it bring you peace? There are a lot of ways to change the power of a room. For me, I changed that power through organization. I decluttered, so I took out anything that I didn't need to have in there. And then I placed earthy elements like my stone on my end table. Changing the power of my room came through keeping it clean, keeping it picked up. It came through asking my friend to paint a piece for me that would help me tie emotionally to this space. If your work vehicle is dirty, could you take it to a detailer or get a car wash and have a really good clean that would refresh the vibe of the car? If your space is cluttered, could you purchase organizers to help eliminate paper piles or maybe store things efficiently so that you can access them easier? Do you have personal touches in your room that you could add, such as pictures, plants, lamps, or other items that kind of increase your sense of ownership? Once your space is basically set up in kind of a clean slate, it's ready for just like a titch more inspiration. So the final step, at least for me, was pondering what I needed to do to be the most productive in this space. So could I sit down and not be distracted and be able to pursue my goals for the day? I do a lot of work on computers. I purchased 2 computer monitors that I can connect to my laptop. This means that I'm not wasting time constantly toggling between tabs, and I can visually lay out everything to manage my workload. I purchased a whiteboard to write ideas down or use during meetings with hubby. I also sometimes use it as a to-do list when I need to be doing something maybe a little more tactile than just something on a computer. When I am working, I usually close the doors to my office, and like I said, I turn on that spa playlist to help drown out what is happening in the rest of the house. Depending on your space, this might mean hanging up a curtain, or you can purchase desktop dividers that you can use to help hide distractions. This might mean buying a different chair to give you the support that you need to sit longer, or maybe you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you need a standing desk to increase your ability to move while working. Changing your space does not have to require a lot of money. If you want all new and you can afford that, knock yourself out. But remember what I said in the last episode. I am incredibly frugal. I prefer to buy something other than new if I can help it. I have great success on Facebook Marketplace and our local Facebook Buy Nothing group. If you don't know anything about Buy Nothing is a group that you have to get accepted into on Facebook based on the location in which you live. Once you've been accepted into the group, everything about your local Buy Nothing page is about exchanging, and there can't be any strings attached. So when I give something away, I am doing it freely. It doesn't matter if someone chooses to go sell the item that I just gave them for free. I am giving it freely to someone in my community who needs it more than I do. You can use groups like this to then post things that you need. So you could ask for a desk or ask for a chair or ask for organizers. And other people will then respond with things that they no longer need. And not only will you love your new space, but you can also feel great about saving something from the landfill. I suggest following Life Done Simply if you are just starting to design a new workspace. Amy Olson, who is the owner of Life Done Simply, truly lives what she preaches, and she also coaches others that want to tackle productivity, time management, and organizing. She does do consulting, but she also has excellent information on her blog that you could kind of surf to look for topics that might help you narrow in on what you need to do. I did provide a link to her in the podcast description if you're interested. These changes take work, and some of us will have bigger hills to climb than others to gain the desired space. My hill was more mental and emotional than physical due to leaving the all too familiar world of my classroom. Still, all these changes will positively impact your mental state while working in your new space. I will leave you with this famous quote: "Don't adapt to the energy in the room. Influence the energy in a room." If you wandered to this point in the episode, thank you for listening to the Wander Mode podcast. Please leave a review and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at WanderModeCo. Reach me by email at julie@wandermode.co. Until next time, wander on.